Hello and welcome to Everyday Ways to Play by the Parenting Team in East Sussex. Within this session, we will cover what is play, why play matters, 5 super skills that children learn from play, the different types of play that there are, adult-led versus child-led play, and barriers to play and how we as parents can break down some of those barriers. Play is how children learn. It's pivotal to early childhood experiences, and it's how they understand the world around them. It allows them to be imaginative, it brings them lots of joy, and it's deeply rooted in their real life experiences. Play is often referred to as practice for life because it is just that. Children are able to develop quite complex ideas through their play, and they're able to really role play real life experiences and figure things out through their play. Helps children develop really lifelong skills. It helps them to build their confidence. Through play, they are figuring out how to communicate with others. They're able to grow their confidence and their communication. They can solve quite complex problems and figure things out. Through play, they can be quite physical. So they're learning about their bodies in space, balance and coordination. And again, as mentioned before, their emotional regulation. Parents, we might think that play is just play. It's what children do. But play is everything that a child does. It's creative, it's physical, it's exploring, it's social, it's imaginative, and it's often child-led. Play is anything from, something messy and creative to your child climbing, jumping across different things, exploring the outdoors. Often children will find the magic in things around them. So you might be going for a walk and your child really is interested in the leaves and the way that they move and the different colours. All of those things are play. Children will often play games with rules, and this can help them to really understand things like turn taking and how others might feel around certain situations. Play allows children to be imaginative, to think outside the box. They might be pretending to be working in a shop, they might be pretending to look after a baby, or they might be pretending to figure something out that actually they found quite difficult to think about. Play is really beneficial, particularly if it's child-led, and if us as adults kind of allow our children to lead the situation and to explore things for themselves, and we just respond and go with it. So as parents, why is it that we can feel that play can be difficult sometimes? So we know that time can be a factor, definitely in play. We are busy in our busy lives. There is always so much to do as a parent, and it can be really tricky to carve out time for play. And sometimes we might feel that our children can just play by themselves. They play on their own. So actually, I don't necessarily need to get involved in that. But it can be really beneficial for us to play with our children, and it can help us to build relationships with them and for them to understand us better and for us to understand them better. So what we recommend is just a few minutes a day. We're not talking 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day, even just 5 minutes a day that you can carve out, that you can be really, really present and just explore with your child and let them lead. You can have a lot of fun with it, but often we feel that play needs to take lots of time, but it can be really beneficial, even if it's very short periods of time. We know that siblings can argue in play, so this can be something that's quite tricky as parents to be able to navigate. And this is part of them learning about the needs and emotions of others. So some of this is just a natural occurrence for children, and sometimes they will be able to figure those things out through play. But it could be that for us as parents, it can be difficult because maybe one sibling wants our attention and wants to play with us, and another one might feel left out. So sometimes we might need to carve out separate time, even if it is just 5 minutes with each child, so that they can feel quite included. And sometimes we might need to split our time within play with children rather than trying to play with them all together. It might not always work in that way. Sometimes as parents, we don't know what types of play to play. We don't know what games to play with our children. We feel a bit awkward and uncomfortable, or we don't know where to start. And often what we recommend is to start where your child is at. So actually look at what it is that they're interested in. What do you notice when you just kind of take a minute to sit back and be present and watch them in their play? What is it that they're doing? And just join them in that. Even if you're playing alongside them and you're getting down to their level and you're doing the same things that they're doing with the toys, that is a way of you being actively involved and playing. Sometimes that might involve you making the noises of different characters, or different types of toys, whether that's a car or a dinosaur, or it might be you asking them questions. Oh, where should I put this? What should I do with this? And allowing your child to lead the play. And that can feel much more comfortable for us as parents than us trying to, put on a certain role or say, oh, okay, I'm going to play this, with you. So make it simple, meet your child where they're at, and don't worry about feeling awkward, because often our children don't pick that up from us, but they're more likely to pick up if we're not interested in the play. So if we can show that we're interested, if we can be really present in the moment, then often how we play and which types of games we play will be led by our children. So we won't necessarily need to worry about it. Noise and overstimulation is a big factor. So for us as parents, play can be quite noisy, it can be quite overstimulating. Parenting in general can be very noisy and overstimulating. So sometimes it might be that before you spend those 5 minutes playing with your child, you need a bit of time to regulate yourself. So you need to have some time to kind of center yourself, get into a bit more of a relaxed state. Don't try and factor these 5 minutes in a really, really, really busy period of time that you're trying to maybe sort dinner out or school bags for the next day or anything like that. So think about the 5 minutes that you're spending and maybe how you feel before that. So it might be that you need to just go and sit in the garden for a couple of minutes beforehand. Some parents might even use things like loop earphones or headphones whilst they're playing so that they can reduce some of that noise and that overstimulation, because it can be quite a lot. But often when our children are loud in their play, it's because they are really involved and they're excited by it. So it can be a lovely thing, but sometimes we need to check where we're at so that we can be as present as possible in the play without feeling too overwhelmed. Space and mess is a big factor, right? So you might be in an environment where there is a bit of a lack of space and you're worried about what do we do? There's just so many toys out there kind of everywhere. And what we sometimes recommend is actually having toys on a bit of rotation, so you don't have all the toys out all of the time. This can be quite fun for our children as well, because it often feels like Christmas. They're getting, toys that they've forgotten about, where they've been put away for a period of time, and mixing it up. And this could be something that takes a bit of time to implement, but can be really helpful if you're worried about space. Mess as well, sometimes anything that's you feel is messy, bathrooms are a great one to do any kind of messy activity in, even if it's using the bathroom floor or the sink or the bath itself. Wipeable surfaces are a lot easier to manage maybe than cream carpets and cream walls. Confidence is something that comes naturally the more that we play. So the more that we play, the more that we allow our children to lead the play, the more comfortable and confident we're going to feel being able to be present in their play. So I want you to think about your best childhood memories. I want you to just see if you can take yourself back to being young and think about what were some of the things that really stick out for you. Some core memories, some exciting memories, some positive memories about being a child. Were those things indoors? Were they dictated to by an adult? Were they on your own? Did they involve a really expensive day out? Were you at Disneyland? Most of the time, when we think about these questions, our head goes to spaces and memories where we were outside, often in nature, normally taking some kind of risk or doing something that was a bit risky, using our whole bodies. Often it's quite a social experience that we think of, a time that we were with friends, or if we were with an adult, that we were kind of in charge of the thing that we were doing. It's not often something that cost a lot of money or that took loads of time. It was often something that was very free. And the reason that these are often our biggest kind of core memories around childhood that are positive is because we were free. We were in that flow state. We were really, really present in our play, and we were taking risks. We were building our confidence. We were figuring things out for ourselves, all of the things that we know can be really beneficial in play for children. So often the things that we remember are the things that had quite a big impact on who we are as a person now, even if we don't make the link between those two things. So what does this tell us about our own children? Well, this tells us that play experiences don't need to be expensive. They don't need to involve the biggest, newest, shiniest toys. You've probably had an experience where you've bought your child something and they're more interested in the box than they are the toy that you've bought. And that's because a box is very open-ended. A box can be a million different things. A box could be a pirate ship, a box could be a house, a box could be anything that a child wants it to be. And often if we think about our own experiences as children and the memory that we thought of, it was probably something quite open-ended. So for me, one of my core memories is me and my sister playing in the garden, and we would pick flowers and we would make potions with those flowers. So we just had flowers, water, grass, and we would mix them all together, and we pretended to be in this kind of magical world, and it was really lovely. So play experiences for our children don't need to be overly complicated. Sometimes the simple ones are the most effective. And on this slide, you will see that there is a lovely drawing of a house done by a child. And if I was to ask you as an adult to draw a house, you might have a vision in your head of what that house needs to look like. You might have a windy path up to that house. You might have drawn a driveway. You might decide that there are certain flowers that belong in that house or outside of that house. You might have a big house. You might draw a cottage or something small. You might have a lovely sunny sky, or you might decide to do something a bit moodier. And what does this tell us about children and their play? Imagination means that play can go in all sorts of directions, and sometimes it can feel really obscure and random. If your child was drawing a picture, or if you were drawing a picture, and somebody was to come up and say, "Why have you put an orange door there? Why is the door not red? Oh, I don't like the yellow there. That looks a bit strange. Why don't you change the windows so that they've got some curtains in them? I like your flowers, but they're a bit tall in the scale of the house, so maybe make them a bit smaller." You wouldn't be overly motivated to carry on doing that picture. You might even have a bit of an emotional reaction to how you felt about that person and what they'd been saying about you. And sometimes when our children are playing, if we become the person that is really trying to lead that play, it can feel a little bit like this. It can feel like somebody is restricting us or taking over. So sometimes when we're playing, it's really important that we take a step back. We might feel that our child can do something slightly differently in a game or in the way that they play, but their vision is different to ours. So it's allowing them to just come up with the games and the play that they feel is important, and to add in praise, actually. So if our child was to create this picture, we would talk about how lovely and big the sunshine was, for example. So now that we've thought about our own memories of play, here are some interesting facts about play in the UK. Outdoor play has dropped by 50% in just one generation. So we know that children are playing way less outside than they were when we were growing up. If children don't get enough time to play freely outside, it can impact their anxiety, their social skills, and their emotional well-being. We know that 1 in 5 children aged 5 to 15 are getting enough daily exercise, so only 1 in 5. And play is one of the best ways for us to be physical in childhood. Children often do fun activities like dance or swimming, but nothing beats the benefits of free outdoor play. So if you think about your own experiences and the things that you remembered about being a child, it was most likely outdoors and quite physical. And we know that the benefits for children are huge. So we want to make sure that our children have got lots of exciting opportunities to just be outside, even if it's a rainy day, even if it's a windy day, even if that involves going to the beach and throwing stones in the sea. Everything can be play, but outdoor play is especially important in childhood. One of the things that we mentioned earlier is that some people don't know how to play, or they might not know what to play with. And I want you to think about your house and the types of things that you've got in your house. Think about the cardboard box example that I gave earlier. Play can involve anything, and sometimes the things that we've got around the house are the things that make play really exciting. So think about the individual rooms that you've got in your house, and if you were being creative and thinking outside of the box as a child, the types of things that you could play with or turn into play. An example of this might be in your living room. You might have lots of cushions. Actually, a cushion could be a fort, it could be a den. You could build a tower of cushions and see who's the first one to knock them over. So play can be really simple, and it can involve anything that we've got kind of lying around the house that is safe. Even things like pots and pans in the kitchen have lots of different uses within play. So think about that and think about the types of things that are in your house that you could get involved in play with your child. And one of the best toys that a child would ever have is an adult who is involved in their play. So just being there, being present, not being on our phones, getting down to their level and showing an interest in what they're interested in can be really, really, really great at building relationships with our children. We know that children really like to be in charge of their play. It's helping them to become independent. It's helping them to be free thinkers and to think outside of the box. So allow them to do that. Be curious, and you might be able to add examples of things that they could do in their play, but just see where they're taking you and see if they can lead. So a quick recap. We know that play builds children's brains, and play is so important. Play is part of everything that a child does and learns. We know that child-led play is going to give us a better connection with our child. So the more that we can allow them to lead, the more that they're going to feel interested in us playing with them, and then they're going to be more motivated to do that. We don't need fancy toys to make play fun and exciting. Go around your house, go into each of the different rooms in your house and see what everyday items your child could play with. Get them involved in this. See if they can find things that look exciting to play with or make a game out of. Breaking the barriers is really important. So we just want to be playful. We don't need to have loads and loads of time to be able to play. We don't need to have lots of fancy resources and toys to be able to play. And we definitely don't need massive big spaces to be able to play. In the East Sussex Parenting Team, we have a really wide range of webinars and groups to support you to build a strong, healthy relationship with your child and to understand their needs. So if you've enjoyed this session, there is a PDF that will be being sent to you that has lots of ideas of at-home play and resources that you can find and things that you can try. But we also have some really good groups and webinars that are on our website.